Good afternoon. Today's topic of discussion is going to be going over pointers or tips for sellers in today's real estate market. There's so much cash being left on the table, and it just kind of got me fired up. So it's Dale Snyder with the Snyder Group at Keller Williams Realty. We have Erin Camp with us today. Thank you for your time, Erin.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Erin is a rock star on the team. She is our listing team leader. She's, I brought the data with us today just to give credibility to what we're going to discuss, like the proof's in the pudding, right? So Erin, you've closed, what was that, 34? I'm just going to go back to the first of the year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
36 listings since the start of the year you've personally sold.
Yes.
That's pretty intense. That's a lot.
It's been a great first quarter. There's no doubt about that.
Like 15 in a month?
Yes, that was
Wow.
our best month.
And equities, too.
Yeah, 24 of those 36 were actually equity sales.
Wow. Traditional sales, meaning it's not a short sale or foreclosure. It was a homeowner that has equity in their property, and they're selling for a profit.
Absolutely.
Right? So before we jump in, I just want to let the consumer know the reason for me wanting to do this video. So I've been running comparable sales in the MLS, to get ready for listing appointments, as Erin, you do all the time as well.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that's just been frustrating me, or just a shock, I would say, is seeing how low some of these homes are selling for. I'll pull a comp up and be like, wow, that's the same model match to the one we're going to list. And we list it and we sell it for like $40,000 more than the one just sold for. So it made me start thinking, and this isn't to, say anything bad about other real estate professionals, but the reality is we've been in a distressed market for so long that there's a lot of agents that don't really understand traditional sales. They're still hung up in the short sales or the foreclosures. And then also with like new agent training, it's always, price your home at the comps, right?
Right, yeah.
Well, we've come up 35% in the last 12 months, and we're probably going to go up at least 10 more this year.
That's what we're looking at.
Right? I mean, that's what we're seeing.
Absolutely.
So if we're projecting about 10% up, what's the highest comp, and price it above that? And then hold firm in your negotiations. And this is where Erin comes in. You're a good negotiator.
Thanks.
We've gone on some appointments together, and I've heard her on the phone. She's awesome at negotiating. I know there's some things with like appraisals and upgrades and the negotiations. What are some of the pointers and things that that homeowners should be looking at or considering?
The biggest thing, especially having equity in your home, when you're pricing the home that you've been in, whether it's been the last 2 years, the last 20 years, it's about getting the most value out of your property. I mean, this is money you've put down. This is where you raised your kids. Or even it's just simply an investment that you got a great deal on, and now it's time to get that profit. That's why you invest in property. It's about making money on your money. It's about that return for you. The biggest hurdle we're facing right now are appraisals. There are great appraisals, and there are not great appraisals. We're still just going to be seeing a consistency that sometimes it's going to come in where we want it to, sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
So if in the event that we don't have our appraisal come in where we need it to, the biggest thing that we need to make sure when we're negotiating those offers is that we've talked with the buyer, the buyer's lender. Does the buyer have cash to pay above that appraised value? And if so, how much are they willing to pay? Get these items known up front so there's no surprises in the end when we're talking and we're going, okay, you know what? We know we're really pushing the market. That's what we're here to do, is to get, our sellers the most money we can. In doing that, we need to really be able to say, okay, we know we're probably, the last sold was about $10,000, let's say, less than where we're at. Mr. Buyer, are you willing to pay that difference? Do you love this home enough to understand that when you a year from now on that 10% increase, you're going to be able to have that? So the buyer says yes or the buyer says no. We work really hard to make sure that we're getting that. In order to get that buyer to say yes, the biggest thing that we need to do is staging on the house.
Yeah.
You need to understand, if a buyer is going to come into your home and give you top dollar, it should look like they're walking into a model home. That's
Yep.
huge.
Yep.
Beds need to be made. Clutter needs to be removed from the kitchen counters, the bathroom counters. You really want, if you don't have necessarily the eye for it, because I know I don't, hire somebody to come in. They're professionals that do this for you. Make somebody walk in and go, wow, this is it. This is my home. This is what I want.
Yeah.
The other item to really be conscious about is we're going to do a home inspection.
Okay, hold that
absolutely.
thought 1 second. So as far as the showability, we have stagers that that are at your disposal that can come out and give you free consults in the beginning. And then as far as the upgrading, there are times where if you want top of the market, but your home was built in the 80s, and you have the white tile, like you need to rip it out through the whole house. Put granite through the whole house. We can get it done cheap for you. If you have the old small tile, that might need to be busted out and put 17-inch on the diagonal. Upgrade fixtures. You need to look at putting $20,000 in some instances into the home to capture that top of the market. And that's where Erin and I come in, because we know where the upgrades are going to matter. There's some places where you could spend the money and you're not going to get the return.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, making sure. Granite is huge. Most buyers honestly expect to see granite countertops in a kitchen. If they walk in and it's not there, that's the first thing they go, oh my gosh, this kitchen is so dated.
Yep, and dark cabinets or the nice antique lighter ones, especially if you want top of the market. If you're priced at top of the market and you don't have the premium upgrades, you're just setting yourself up to fail.
You're going to be sitting.
So price it lower and expect to not get the premium of the market in that case.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's say you've gone through, you've upgraded, you've cleaned the house, we've staged it, we've put granite in, we've updated the cabinets. We have our offer. The buyer's willing to pay, X amount above appraisal. Let's say, we're in a great situation. If the buyer is committed to your sales price, they'll pay you $20,000 if the house doesn't appraise at that sales price. They want your home.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Yeah. Which we're getting.
Absolutely.
All day long on our properties.
Right now, on average, is anywhere between 10 and 20. We're closing one at the end of this week that'll actually pay $50,000 above the appraised value.
Wow.
No, granted, we got a bum appraisal. And the value to that is it's a beautiful home. The agent was able to show, look, we know where the value of this home is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what's going on. It's being able to show that, being able to present, here's our house, here are the other homes that we're comparable to. This is our value. You're not going to find that anywhere else.
Yeah, we call that a cost approach. That's what I go over with clients as well. You do the same. Is hey, if the comparable had just rock in the backyard versus you have $40,000 in landscaping, the appraiser's not going to give you $40,000.
Absolutely.
But the cost approach on that is going to be $40,000. So you're looking for the buyer that understands that they need to look at the cost approach as well, not just we're going to cop this off of a short sale that's been vacant for 2 years.
Exactly. So we've gone through, we've negotiated out what our buyer's willing to give us. The next big step is going to be the home inspection. So you have a buyer who's willing to pay you $20,000 above appraised value if we have an issue with the appraised value.
Okay.
Or maybe they're just even simply cash. It doesn't matter. They're giving you the price that you want. That home inspection is going to come back with items. They may not be a big deal by any means.
Some of them are just flat out ridiculous too. So
That's true.
Just fix them. You're getting your price, right?
Exactly. That's where you have to be. It's not about saying, well, I don't want to fix anything in my house. I just want to take my money and run. This isn't about being greedy with our money. This is about having a win-win. And if someone's going to give you the price that you want on your home, be willing to work with them. Fix items if they need to be fixed. Remember, the buyer is giving us what we want. We want to keep them happy and give them back what they want. Again, it comes down to a win-win. We want everybody happy when this transaction's over.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. So I would budget, approximately about $1,000, maybe.
Absolutely.
Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Sometimes you'll need an electrician, a plumber, or a handyman to just do a couple odds and ends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So from the time that you are looking at what the market is, being realistic with where numbers as an appraiser is going to look at what they are, being realistic with that is, knowing where the values of homes are going to go, be willing to push the market, and also be patient with it. Also understand when we're pushing, our homes aren't necessarily selling in 24 hours. We're not looking
Yep.
for I want 12 offers in the first day. What I'm looking for is that buyer who's willing to give my seller what they want.
Yep.
And if that means I've got to stick it out for 20 or 30 days,
Yep.
great. If that means I can stick it out 60
Yeah.
to 90,
Yep.
that's okay too. It's about being patient and understanding that if we want a higher price, we're going to have to be patient with it. It's not going to come overnight. And I know
Yep. That's a good point.
there's great talk about, oh my gosh, you're going to have, 15 showings in the first day and 12 offers, and it's going to
Yeah.
be sold. We're
Yeah.
listed on Monday, it's going to be sold by Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We can do that all day long, but we're not going to get you top dollar by doing that.
Yeah. Sometimes we're able to, but a lot of times, you've got a budget in there that, hey, it's going to take 1 to 5 weeks because you got to get the right buyer.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times you have to reject the offers. If you get the wrong offer or two out of the gate, because what I've seen, and you've probably seen the same, is you'll get a lot of those FHA offers right out of the gate where they need closing costs or they can't go over appraisal.
Right.
Well, that we're not going to appraise, so unfortunately, we'll just have to reject that offer and be patient because the right buyer will come. It just depends. Like some of the data here shows. These are the real estate reports that come out by Ticor Title, which shows the data. I'm just flipping through it. The average days on market, 36, 35, 33, 30, 47 for last month. So the average days on market for the Valley as a whole is about 1 month. Numbers are a touch skewed because that still factors in short sales. But, our average days on market is, I think, 40, 45. I averaged them. Some it's
Sounds about right.
few days, some it's 2 months.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the longest one that we've had so far has been 61 days.
Yeah.
With, the majority of them, probably around 40, 45.
Yeah, to get that right buyer.
And that's counting in, also a buyer having to go and get a loan, which is about 30 days.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, well, is there anything else that's important to share? I mean, you went through a lot of valuable stuff, and I think most importantly, I just need to reach out to you.
Absolutely, yeah. If there's questions, if you want to just talk about the market, what the possible value of your home is, please feel free to give me a call at any time. That's why we're here. We'd love to come out, walk the home, discuss, staging, things to do. Maybe you're contemplating selling, but you're not really sure what to do, to start prepping and getting the house ready. We'd love to come and meet with you.
Yeah, all right, fantastic. So in closing then, the only other thing I wanted to touch on was, move up and move downs in this current market. There's a lot of opportunity. So if you're considering, downsizing or upsizing, this is really a great opportunity in the market to capitalize on that. There's different strategies we put in place with that, with leasebacks and whatnot. But, just reach out to us. We're more than willing to come out and do a free consultation, bring some comparables, discuss what you do need to do with your home. But thanks for your time, Erin. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, it's Dale Snyder and Erin Camp with the Snyder Group of Keller Williams Realty. Have a fantastic day.
Bye-bye.
Hardly any for the entire valley.
Yeah, that's what I saw as well. I mean, I've heard estimates of 2,500 to 3,000 so far this year, but
That's about right.
there was an article in the